And welcome everyone to an NCAA.com March Madness postseason Skype session. We are just hours away from Selection Sunday, 6 o'clock Eastern Time on CBS. The bracket will be revealed. It is Saturday morning. I'm joined by Bernard Muir, the Men's Basketball Selection Committee Chair, also in his day job, soon to return to that, the Stanford Athletic Director. And as you know, I'm Andy Katz. All right, so let's deal with the status right now of the bracket. What are the numbers right now? How many teams are in the field?
So there are 34 teams in the field. We think, based on the games that are still left to play, we could have anywhere from 2 to 9 teams enter the field if things break the right way. We have 14 teams under consideration. We've narrowed down that list considerably. So we'll have more discussion today and try to line up how we see those teams falling into place should things break the right way and we can get more teams into the field.
Bernard, how'd you get from, I think we had yesterday, 30 down to 14 of teams in consideration?
So the committee spent a lot of time yesterday afternoon as well as into the evening just breaking down each resume, looking team by team and saying, okay, who merits truly consideration into the field now as we're getting closer to Selection Sunday. It was a painstaking task, but one that had to be done. And at the end of the day, we said, okay, who's above the line and who's below the line? And if they don't have a chance to climb up above, we need to go ahead and eliminate them. And that's why the process we went through and why you see so many numbers diminish.
Within the team sheets, how often are you looking within each quadrant where those wins came from? So if you had, 7 quadrant 1 wins, were they from the top of the quadrant or the bottom?
So we looked at all those factors. Certainly we go quad by quad, top of the quadrant 1, below quadrant 1, top of quadrant 2, below quadrant 2. And also looking at quadrant 3 and 4, sometimes there's some losses that pop up there, sometimes in conference, sometimes out of conference. And so we're trying to dissect those as best we can. What you start to see is teams start to look really alike. They've all taken on some losses. They've had some rough spots throughout the year. And so we're trying to decipher, okay, based on all that we've seen, and also I should say observation is key because a lot of us have seen these teams. We've seen most of these teams that are under consideration. And we have to make sure that, okay, what we're looking at, who belongs in and who's going to be left out. And so that's what we took yesterday afternoon and evening to do.
Look, the battle for the number 1 overall seed is pretty close already. Virginia, North Carolina, Gonzaga have already lost. Potential contenders of Duke, Kentucky, Tennessee, maybe Michigan State are all still alive. What will be the determining factor of a number 1 overall seed?
So we'll spend today having that discussion, obviously seeing those results that occurred yesterday, but also looking at the entire body of work of these resumes. We're going to spend time exactly going, how do you sequence the 1 line? And those teams that are on the 2 line, they may have a chance, like you said, based on the fact that some of them are still playing, to move up. And so we will spend time today saying, hey, based on what we saw, based on what might happen, what's the scenario in which a team could move up to the 1 line or what somebody shift back, even on the 1 line itself. So I expect to be a very robust discussion this afternoon on that topic.
Bid thieves. We have potential bid thieves in the Mountain West, the Pac-12, the A-10, and of course the MAC because Buffalo, likely in, obviously, if they lose. So how are you evaluating those 4 potential bid thieves here onto Saturday and in actually with the A-10 into Sunday?
Well, I love the term bid thieves, although we don't use that in the committee room.
Yeah, that's my term.
Yeah, we think you earn your way in. And what's great about this week is that everybody has an opportunity to earn their way into the tournament. So we'll see what occurs. That's part of the scenario planning. We're looking at that 14 under consideration, how you line them up should one of those teams make an upset in the conference tournament, or I should say the team that's favored to wins the conference tournament. We know we can get additional teams into the tournament, and so we just have to make sure who's going in and in what order they're going into the tournament.
Yeah, it was a year ago that Davidson won on Sunday in the A-10. They weren't supposed to be in, so they bounced out another team. So it certainly could occur again. All right, how do you seed teams that were dominant during the regular season but maybe didn't have as many opportunities? And I'm thinking of teams like a Buffalo, like a Wofford. How are you guys balancing seeding a team like that?
Just really comparing resumes, lining up, hey, what did you see? We've all watched them play. and where do they fall? Where do we think, based on the resume itself, based on the type of team that we think that they are? Looking at what's great about the net this year is that we have not only the results-based metrics, but we also have predictive metrics, which we're looking at. Not saying that's the be-all, end-all, but it gives us a chance to say, based on what this team has done, we think they could fall here. And that's exactly what we do with the seeding process. We continue to scrub. We'll scrub sometime today. We'll scrub probably this evening again. And then tomorrow morning before we start bracketing, we'll scrub again. And so that will give us a chance to say, here's where we think that team should fall based on who we're comparing them against.
One last thing, Bernard. It's interesting. There's a lot of interesting teams out there that have great wins, but they got a lot of losses. And it's a real unique situation this year. So how did the committee look at that, where you've got some of these teams that have a number of quad one wins, but they just have so many losses to where they even may be close to 500 or 500, but you can't discount all these great wins.
Well, we always talk about what did you do with your opportunities? And so if you had all these opportunities and you didn't win games, that's going to be a concern, quite frankly. Can't say that they're necessarily out because you're comparing them to some other teams that may not have piled up some of these wins. And so we're going to really have to debate, and which we have and will continue to do, to see where these teams fall in relation to the overall field.
Thanks, Bernard.
Thank you. It's great to be with you. Look forward to talking tomorrow.